Ou deixa sua bunda ardendo, ou dá tapa, 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 cara.
Welcome to Empowerment Unleashed Now, exploring your inner authority. I'm Michelle Jones.
And I'm Scott Collins.
And this is the place to connect with your highest, most essential self, your most empowered self, where you can explore your inner authority and learn from others and learn more about yourself.
We talk with fascinating people from all walks of life about transformation, healing, hypnosis, astrology, physical experience of being human, and heart-centered living.
We're so thankful that you're here with us. Let's dive right on in. Hi, and welcome to Empowerment Unleashed Now, exploring your inner authority. We are at episode number 56, and we're going to dialogue today with Christy Whitman about manifestation and the flow factor during a time of energetic mastery as we enter this new era. So we are so grateful that you're here with us, and we just want to welcome you to Empowerment Unleashed Now, Christy. Thank you so much for being with us with Scott. How are you today, brother?
Settling into this third decan of Scorpio.
Right on. Right on.
Yeah. It's wild how things happen right on schedule sometimes.
Yeah, it's shockingly accurate, isn't it? And hello, I'm happy to be here.
Hey, welcome, Christy.
I love it.
Pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And, you know, one of the things, Christy, that I thought was amazing just in learning about you, so we kind of have like consciousness, cosmic intelligence, I would say human empowerment, convergence, astrology, like it all kind of happens here, which I think is very indicative of this new era that we move into as we sit right on the verge of the age of Aquarius. And one of the things that I thought was so fascinating just about you, and this is just a second off script, but it was the flow factor, right? Your newest book that came out, because Christy is a New York Times bestselling author. She's a transformational leader. She's a channel as well. But the flow factor, to me in particular, your latest book, I thought mastery of energy in this new era is really like we manifest with flow, right? Being in alignment, like energetic clarity. But flow, I was an educator, and I don't know if you ever heard of this gentleman, Christy and Scott. His name is Chickasaw Mahai. And
Now, that's impressive, because I think you are the only person out of all the people that have said that name to me have ever been able to say it with accuracy and fluency. So good on you. Yes, go ahead, Michelle.
Thank you. And one of the things so I was an educator at that time, and I was working in a Montessori setting when his work came to my consciousness. And it was this brilliant way for me to explain what was happening to children and why a Montessori classroom with 60 kiddos and only like 4 adults could be like in this process that was such a living organism in and of itself. And he was Dr. Flow. And so I wanted to learn more about this state. So, you know, you apparently have mastered flow, friend.
Well, I hope so. I wrote a book on it. You know what I've mastered is the opposite of flow in many decades in my life. And so it's like, I know what flow feels like, and I know what it doesn't feel like. When I'm out of flow, that feels like. And so what we're talking about is like the difference between survival consciousness and creator consciousness. That's what that's what the different states feel like. Like you're either in this place of victim, blaming others, the drama triangle, trying to be something different and help everybody out so that you'll be okay. The whole part of let me please everybody else so I can be okay. Let me be the hero. it comes from this just chaotic drama, and it's this, not to judge, it's just the human way, because we're very, animalistic, primitive beings that have these primitive part of our brains that have that survival instinct of fight, flight, freeze, fawn. And there's another option, though, when you get elevated in your awareness and consciousness of energy and what we're connected to, where you can, on any situation and any time, connect with flow. You could be deeply, deeply, deeply in debt and have the option of freaking out, or vibrating in abundance, even though the dollars in the bank haven't arrived yet. You could be stuck at a job that you absolutely freaking hate, but you want to feel passion and purpose, and you just haven't felt it yet. And so you can cultivate that passion, that purpose, because you're getting out of what's stuck. You're coming into that creator consciousness, which is abundance and where all the good feelings are. And flow is the key to that, and it's like, if you know how to get from here to there, the center point of that, like the stepping stone, is neutrality. It's compassion. It's, it's coming from a place of, it's not black or white or bad or good. You're just there. You're neutral. And then from there, you're in choicefulness. And, we get out of that primitive part of our brain, that which is at the back of the head and neck. And there's a release valve back there that is, right where you have the indentation. And if you imagine, like, there's a lever. Someone was so cute the other day. They said to me, I was actually looking for a lever at the back of my head, but like, there's an imaginary lever. And if you open it up, it's like the energy from that clinging, fighting, resisting, stress part of the brain can start to relax and release out there. And then it's like your whole limbic system relaxes, and you can breathe better, and your nervous system just kind of starts chilling out a little bit. And when we can understand that that's part of this experience of being a human being, like thinking, we can't stop thought, we can't not think. So since we are thinking in everything into creation, into being, then let's think of what we do want, not what we don't want. So we can go from very, very basic to very, very complex just by being in the state of union with, with truth and with light and with energy. And so energy mastery is it's important.
It's very important, and it's not random. And that was one of the things that, just for our salient listener question, because I feel like you just gave us this beautiful, like, launch pad, because none of this is random. And I just want to ask our listeners, first of all, and for a little bit of contrast, because I know that's something that Christy's going to speak about also with us, is, what are you feeling most empowered about in your life right now? The question Scott and I will ask, like, our folks, we're going to ask our listeners this today. And also, in that, where is your energy calling you to expand? Where is your energy calling you or inviting you to expand? And I just want folks to kind of hold that as we just kind of dive in now a little bit. But, Scott, I know you've been listening to Christy and, like, all of her, like, beautiful and incredible, like, echoes of everything that we kind of about. And I know, as a musician, as a creator, like, flow for you is something that I feel like musicians know this.
Yeah. No, not like so much, thumbing through your book a little bit, resonates with me, because I'm both I'm a tennis coach. Like, I work with high level tennis players, and a musician, and, like, flow is something I talk about a lot. And I love how you glossed over a little bit, but it wasn't subtle to me, about the importance of neutrality. I sometimes like to say that I feel like ascension sets sail in the seas of neutrality. That's the only place, that's the only emotional, like, state it can really happen, I believe. And I have a question, though, because you also alluded to something else we talk about a lot. I'm curious how you respond to people that say, what do you mean there's no good or bad?
Yeah.
I get asked that a lot. It charges people sometimes when you say, like when I say, and I say it regularly, and I get challenged on it a lot. So I'm curious how you respond when you're challenged on that.
So, yeah, let me answer that one first. But the neutrality thing that's really important to go to, because that's a big piece that most people forget or don't know. And it's a reason why most people are really frustrated with the whole positive thinking and, just be this kind of thing and not getting into the neutrality and compassion. So the way I like to, first of all, I'll just say it this way. I'm very, mindful is a good way of saying it. I'm very mindful to who I say, everything, nothing's either good or bad, or everything's either good or, whatever. Like there's neutrality, right? That nothing's ever good and nothing's ever bad, or that's not bad or that's not good. It all just is. I'm very careful or mindful of who I would say that to, because if I'm going to say that to my mom, for example, who's 89, little old lady, she'd be like, well, that's wrong. Murder. She would come back and want to fight me about, the evidence in the world that is bad.
Yeah.
Right. And there is, I mean, it's like, yes, those things exist, right? The things that in society we might, kind of put in a bubble of this is not good. I mean, we do that. Like, look at our jails. It's a manifestation of a representation of laws that have been put together so people can work together and live together as a society. And yet when people break the rules and they do it in a severe way, they go live somewhere else together in a confined place. Right? It's like our whole.
And isn't that more about the other person? Maybe is it not more? It's about our experience. Isn't good or bad. So how we respond to our experience.
Exactly.
All right. So we can call it good or bad or not.
But here's the difference. And that's where the piece of compassion comes in. The minute we judge something to be either good or bad, we've lost our flow because we're now in judgment. There's a
flow.
Totally. You're gonna love this. I'm gonna show you. Look, in the book, right? There's a graph that shows the 3 different states of being, and there's what happens the minute you judge. That like the first thing we do is observe something, right? I'm noticing something, I'm aware of something, I'm seeing, I'm hearing, I'm feeling. Like there's an awareness of something, and there's a split second right before where our mind just can easily just go right into judgment. Oh my God, that's bad. Yeah. Right. It's almost like, and believe me, I know that. Right. And I lived that. My dad would, nothing was ever good. It was always, oh my God, we're screwed, or, effed. And it was like this, I mean, just everything was just, the sky is going to fall and the earth is going to, everything was just so demise kind of energy when something would happen. And it was so automatic. But because of the work that I've done with light, with energy mastery, now I've got to pause in between something and I can observe it and say, okay, in this moment, I have an opportunity to see this as an opportunity to be neutral to this and not say, well, give me a judgment of this is bad. If I say, ooh, this is good, great. Because that still fits good.
You see, that's everything right there, Christy, because, I'm going to NLP it for folks, is that as soon as you say to anyone, there's no blah, 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 whatever follows that, you're exactly inviting them to go to exactly that, i.e. right and wrong. Yeah. So it's far more interesting to have the conversation in a way of, this is in terms of good, right? It's like that creates less resistance within communication, period. Because, and again, knowing your audience, of course, I love that you guys are talking about this, because you got to know who you can say it to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the neutrality, really, it's more like sheer physics. It's a charge. Your response to the charge, like an electron, is neutral. It's like there's a difference. Michelle and I say this a lot. There's a difference between neutrality and numbness.
Oh, I love that, you guys.
Complete.
Yeah.
So true.
Neutral is how you respond to the charge inside. You could respond to that charge with judgment or criticism or any of those things, right? But if you respond from a physics level of neutrality, then you're stepping into empowerment. It's not being numb. Compassion in a state of neutrality, you can still have all those things.
And emotionally, what that is love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's talk about this, because this is compassion, right? So here's the thing. Like, I like to say there are 3 different states of being. We've been touching on that and talking about it. But the first bucket is like, that's where the lack is, that's where any emotion that just doesn't feel good, that comes from that mentality, right? And then on the other side, you've got abundance, which is all the feel good, passion, purpose, love, support, freedom, joy, all the like rainbows and unicorns and lollipops, that land over there, right? Where everybody wants that Eden, right? Everyone wants to be in their own versions of it, but that's what we're all seeking. Well, then there's the middle point, because, what I've discovered living in Arizona is that there is a huge gap between both sides of the Grand Canyon, and you cannot just leap from one side to the other. Many have, and they have not succeeded, right? So even taking selfies, it just didn't work, right? So you need a bridge from one side to the other. And that neutrality is that bridge, because I've heard people, like, I'm just going to say this, it makes me giggle every time. There's an influencer that I saw on, and I love the guy, but I saw him on Instagram, and he said something that I was just like, no, dude, because he's like, if you're disappointed, if you're feeling upset, if you're in despair, just appreciate what you're going through. And I'm like, someone just lost their best friend, or they lost their job, or they don't know how they're going to pay their mortgage, or the thing that they just invested their money in fell through. You want them to just appreciate appreciate the situation. You'll get there. You'll eventually get there, but there's some depth of emotion and understanding and of growth. There's some unpacking to do here. There's like, this is where the good stuff is. Like, this is where you get to know about yourself. But I mean, trying to go from there to positive thinking when you haven't done the energy work, it's just going to charge you all the way back. It's not going to last, because if you have imprints from your past, for example, those imprints are there until you release them. Just because you didn't process it doesn't mean that they go away. They're going to come up at some point, but when you know how to master your energy, I have clients that are now doing this all the time. It's like, I'm so proud of them, because they're like, so this happened the other day, and the dog that we've been, fostering for 6 months finally left. And she was just kind of like, I don't know why I'm down. And I'm like, and she goes, but I did this and this and this. I'm like, because there is a loss in the family. Like, there's energy there. This dog represented a presence, a being in the home, which the energy of it is now totally broken up, and now it's reconfiguring itself. It's like, for all of us, when we have a thought about lack and we try to go into abundance, it's like it's too much dissonance. You can't get there.
Right.
But you go into neutrality, that's where compassion is. Now it's like you feel, I'm okay. I'm all right. I could breathe, right? I say, first of all, invite that energy of just neutrality in as the bridge. Just invite that energy of compassion in. And then just even hug yourself.
Yeah.
You guys, seriously, like, just do it. Like right now, wrap your arms.
I love it. It's one of the best things to do.
Let's hug together. Noah, Scott, wrap your arms around yourself. Hug yourself. Seriously, like, you gotta hug yourself. Feel how good it feels, right?
It really does.
It's like, it's just so like soothing. And then you get to say, I'm okay. It's gonna be all right. Good things happen to me. You know what? I believe the universe is abundant. I know I will get through this. It's gonna be fine. All is well. Whatever you want to tell yourself. But that's neutrality.
Yes. I think that people are needing to access neutrality so much more because of the energetic acceleration that we're in right now. I think that, like, everybody, a lot of the collective consciousness is walking around saying, oh my God, everybody's going cray cray. And that's really, if it's a minimizing of a process that we've never gone through before in terms of an energetic acceleration where we know time is shifting.
Oh my God. Hello. We're talking, like, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm thinking it's like spring. You notice
Oh,
that I'm like, this
totally.
year, does someone push fast forward on the year? Like someone's got the remote. You remember that movie Click where
Click.
yeah. I'm like,
That's
did
the
somebody
second time it came up today. Yes, that's the second time somebody talked about that today because of this acceleration. And there's a lot of astronomical and quantum reasons as to why this is going on. And I think that what we're living through right now is a vibrational convergence of sorts, right? Like where we have, this collective awakening. There is a collective awakening.
Oh, heck yeah.
And there's a quantum awareness that's kind of amplifying everything, like, and people are just like, okay, what do I do in this? And they're kind of like the deer in headlights. And I just want to know from your perspective in this time, because it's pretty darn dynamic, how does one like manifest within this?
Get into flow. That's
it.
That is it. There is, I talk
Everything.
about, it's everything. I talk about there's 5 C's to flow, right? So the first one is contrast. You're always going to have some form of, oh, shoot, I don't want that. That's not what I want, or some kind of judgment or something manifested or some icky feeling or, that's contrast, right? And that's actually the first starting point for most people in manifestation, because when you figure something happens that you do not want, that's when you get to go, well, that's not what I wanted. What I want is, this. But a lot of times, like we're saying, going from what I want or what I don't want into what I want is too big of a leap. So it's fine. It's getting the information from the contrast and what it provides as far as, discovery, right? Like maybe it's a pattern I have within myself, or maybe this is a paradigm that I'm ready to shift, or maybe I'm totally unconscious of why I created this. But looking at a situation and looking at yourself as a creator of your own life experience, when you see contrast, you can take responsibility, but you don't have to beat yourself up for it. And that's what I see as a coach for 25 years is if someone missteps or they didn't get what they want, or, they get into fear, they beat themselves up. Right? It's like, I'm doing it wrong. Law of attraction must not work for me. God must really hate me, like my dad said, or, like all the paradigms of the limitations that keep people into their stories of why the damn universe isn't giving them what they want to manifest. It's just a reflection of when they were a kid.
Or maybe actually like rejecting that the universe is giving it to them right there. It just has different form or shape, right? Than what they think. Like in those moments when you experience a challenge like that, then you get charged. Like, how important is just saying to yourself like a catchphrase like, this is happening for me, not to me.
Well, it's
that due to your unconscious mind.
It's trying to make that leap too much. So that's why the second C is compassion, because that's where you get to just sit without judgment. Because if you have judgment, you can't have compassion. And if you're in compassion, you're not judging. So that's where it's actually that neutral place of, I may not understand this, but I'm gonna still love myself. I may not fully get why I'm being stretched like this, but I'm a good person. I'm okay. It's going to be all right. Right. I'm loved, whatever that is. But that's where the hug can come in, and that's where, inviting in the energy of compassion. And this is where in that gap where my spirituality and cosmic stuff is going to come in now and this is where I get juicy, is that our soul is always with us. Our energy field is our soul. We're connected to the divine. All the universe is a part of us. Flow. What is flow? Flow is who we are. We are in connection and constant co-creation with energy, and energy is always around us and available to us now. So it's like whatever, excuse me, whatever we are wanting in our lives, us as human beings try to strategize how to get that need met. And usually it's a feeling need. It's a state of being need.
Yeah.
And so if we could like bypass the whole thing and go, wait, I don't have to get this person to do that in order to feel. I don't have to go do that and have that in order to experience. I could just literally have some reflection and ask myself, what is it that I want? Why do I want it? How do I want to feel? Right. And feel the essence of, how I want to feel is prosperous. I want to feel passionate. I want to feel on purpose. I want to feel free. I want to feel loved. I want to feel supported. I want to feel connected. I want to feel like I matter. Like all of these are needs. And most of us did not get those needs filled in the way that we were looking to get them filled from an energetic place. And so that's when we start to strategize and like what this means, and this is how I get this, and men need to do this, and it becomes like the stuff that we put on to like the rules of our lives kind of thing, instead of just going like breaking up the spider web and just going, okay, I'm going direct with the universe, that if I want to feel successful, I just have to invite that in, just inviting in that thought of what success feels like. And that starts to conjure my memories of being successful. And that starts to create pictures of, me being successful, or what that looks like, what that feels like. And then because I'm now focusing on it for a longer period of time, it starts to gain strength, and it starts to, now it's like you can start to feel it. Like you almost feel your soul's, light all around you, filled with that success energy vibrating in it and with you. And, and then from there, it just creates even more, and it starts pulling gravity, and, things pull itself to this. And that's what we get to create. That's the third part of flow, is where we get to go, wait a minute, this is my mind. I get to focus it. What is it that I want? How am I going to engage in this negative energy? Am I going to suppress it or ignore it? I want to just share this really quick. This happened literally Tuesday. I was driving home from Pilates, which I love to work out. I love Pilates. I usually have a great time in Pilates, but kind of was just a little bit And I get in my car and I had this sense of like, I just wanted to give up. I was like, I just want to go home, put the sheets over my head, and I just don't even want to try anymore. And it was like, immediately I heard that. And it was like I was looking for someone in my car behind me who was talking, because I'm like, that's not me.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It was like, there's an alien being or something's going on, but that is not me. That I know me, and that's not me. I'm not a quitter. I'm not a, give up, kind of, abdicate my power. No way. And it felt like there was this energetic tentacle that was like attached to me, like almost like in another appendage. And I just said hello to it. And it was like, it was my dad's energy. It was like my dad as a small kid, without knowing, he loved me, but it's like he went, here, hold this. And I went, okay. And now I've been holding it for 55 freaking years. And I'm like, hey, I don't want, you're not even here anymore. I'm like, I don't need to hold this anymore. I don't need this.
Wow.
But
What a breakthrough for you on Tuesday.
Right?
Pilates day. Who knew? Right?
Well, when you master your energy, it's
You're
like
mastering your energy, and this breakthrough. Woo-hoo.
Michelle, I forgot what
Tennessee.
what she was saying reminds me of what we were talking about when Pluto shifted into Aquarius, that the new way to materialization is you feel it into existence. You don't think it into existence. And
that's for sure.
That's, man, everything you said. Yeah. And I love how you also reminded us that compassion includes self-compassion.
Oh, has to.
Maybe it's first. I mean, I agree. Yeah. Start there, right? Self-compassion.
Time out. Gotta talk about this.
The compassion can go outward.
It's a must. You have to give from the saucer, not the cup. You have to give from the overflow. If I was to come up to you and go, listen, I need some money. Do you have $1,000? And you're like, I don't. I can't give you what I don't have. How am I going to give someone compassion when I don't have it within myself in my own experience? And that's the cool thing, is that when you get into that groove, that second bucket of neutrality, and you really start to work with self-compassion, it's like things just don't get you like they did, because you're not beating yourself up. You're giving yourself compassion. Like, there was, like, I could give so many examples right now, but it's like, there's a moment of like where I made a mistake on my calendar and I thought I messed up a podcast appearance, and it was actually a live, and I was traveling. And so I messed up the, time that it was. And there was a moment when I heard a voice say, "How could you be so stupid?" And I went, "Oh, I'm not stupid. I'm smart."
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, whatever voice, again, my father, whatever voice was in there saying, and I could see him too, go, he would do stuff with the temple. He go, "How could you be so stupid like that?" Right. And so that energy, when I made a mistake, I was like, no, I literally cut the cord and I pushed it away. I'm like, no. And I gave myself just a bathing. I was sitting at Starbucks waiting for my iced tea, and I was in line and I was doing this. Nobody had a clue. And I'm like, no. And I'm letting the light in, and I'm letting my soul, surround me and give me that compassion. It's like a prayer. It's an intention. It's a thought. You could be anywhere, driving. You could be in line at Starbucks. You could be anywhere, and invite energy in, and it will respond to you immediately.
Yes. You have to. Manifestation requires that immediate connection within our own, energy fields, which, Scott and I talk about loving yourself and loving yourself some more. That's really, that first, like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I love me.
What's interesting is now we're in a day and age where we have so many wonderful books and processes and techniques and tools and companies and podcasts and shows, and that where we can go to a place to learn more that will be empowering things to do, right? Like my mom and dad, and probably your mom and dad's didn't have this, right? They didn't have tools, and they certainly didn't have it at their fingertips like we do.
My dad went seeking them. He was like an early marriage encounter guy, and like big on like psychotherapy and like humanistic, like
rare
Jungian psychology. But he also was a meditator. He got into est and yoga. And so I think, Yogananda really influenced him. And I think that it is rare because traditionally that generation did not give us the tools that then we kind of had to create a library.
Yes.
The Gen X healing library of Chiron and Aries.
Yes. But just think about how much we have at our disposal now, and, what we can plug into. And one of those tools is EFT tapping, right?
Mm-hmm.
I learned about EFT. I was like 2001, before the internet and all that. Well, the internet was, but it wasn't like, and nobody talked about tapping. And it was like, I remember going into this small hotel room in a, like a small little room, like a ballroom, a meeting room. And this woman and this man taught us about tapping. And one of the first things I learned when you are tapping the karate chop is that you say, even though I, and whatever the mistake was, or whatever the judgment was, or even though I suck at money, even though I screwed up that relationship, even though I spent too much money, even though I drank too much wine last night, even though whatever, right? I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Like, it starts there.
Amen. Yeah. Because that's where, because without that manifestation, right? Because the connection between energetic And mastery of ourselves is not a control thing. It's an awareness thing.
100%.
Yeah.
A lot of people think, I've been teaching on law of attraction a long time, and I, certified over 3,000 law of attraction coaches through the Quantum Success Coaching Academy, which has been just a cool, trippy ride. Yeah, it's been awesome. But one of the things that I talk about is that, most people hear about law of attraction, that it's what you send out, you get back. And I used to teach that too. It's like a boomerang. What you send out, you come back, it comes back at a basic level. But when you really understand what's behind this, it's like, we're not just transmitting energy out, which is part of what we do. First of all, we have to start with who we are and what we are. And we're energy receivers.
Yes.
First and foremost. And just even in the third dimension, right? It's like we're receiving energy when we drive by a car. We're receiving energy when we're sitting in line at a office. When you're coming to a podcast, you're receiving the vibration of these conversations, because you're elevating your vibration, hopefully, because the conversations are elevated, right? Is why we do this. And it's like you then resonate with that, but you are in the receiving mode. If you're watching, I love Mary Morrissey, who wrote the foreword, and she's just a dear friend and amazing teacher.
I love that.
Mary's amazing. She would always say CNN means constantly negative news. So if you've got CNN in the background all the time, right? It's like that has a vibration to it. And we are energy receivers. I don't care how good of an energy master you are, right? It's like you're gonna have. I remember going into Safeway and I was doing my grocery shopping, and they're doing this announcement over the loudspeaker about breast awareness and all this breast cancer, and I'm like,
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Empowerment Unleashed Now. Please subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and let us know how this helped you.
Join us right here every week for another episode.
They just want good idea.